Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's theorem is theorem 11.1.3. The statement of the theorem is that the line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So here we are talking about a line segment. Okay, a line segment is a line having two endpoints. Okay, a line having two endpoints. So we have a line segment, okay, which is joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. These are the two sides. L is the midpoint of AB, M is the midpoint of AC, and they are talking about this line segment. Okay, LM is the line segment which is joining the midpoints of AB and AC. So the line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. This is the third side. Okay, so we need to prove that this line segment, okay, which is joining the midpoints of these two sides of this triangle is parallel to BC, is parallel to the third side, and is equal to 1/2 of its length. LM is equal to half of BC. These are the two things we need to prove. The first thing is that LM is parallel to BC, and the second thing that we need to prove is that LM will be the length of LM will be half of BC. Okay, so here we are given that you have a triangle. We are given a triangle ABC. Okay, triangle ABC such that L is the midpoint of AB and M is the midpoint of AC, and LM is the line segment joining the midpoints L and M of sides AB and AC respectively. Okay, so you are giving a triangle ABC, and LM is the side which is joining these two sides of this triangle, and LM are the midpoints of AB and AC. Okay, L is the midpoint of AB and M is the midpoint of AC. This is what they have given to us. Now the next thing is the statement that we need to prove. We need to prove that LM, the line segment LM, this is parallel to BC. Okay, we need to prove that these two are parallel to BC, the third side of the triangle, and LM, measurement of LM is equal to half of measurement of BC. Okay, we need to prove the relation between these two, that LM is parallel to BC and length of LM is half of length of BC. The next step is the steps of construction. Okay, in steps of construction, what we are going to do, we are going to draw a line. We are going to extend this LM. In steps of construction, what we are going to do is that we are going to extend the line LM to a point N. Okay, such that we are going to extend it to a point N until this line segment NL becomes equal to LM. Okay, we will extend LM to a point N such that NL and LM, these two segments are congruent. Okay, and then we are going to join N to B, and next we are going to mark these angles as 1, 2 and 3. Okay, the main steps are, summary will be, first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to prove these two triangles congruent. Okay, triangle NBL, okay, we will prove it congruent to triangle ALM. Okay, we are going to prove these two triangles congruent. After that, we will get enough information from this to prove the third step. The third step will be, we are going to prove NBMC, this figure. We are going to prove that this figure is a parallelogram. Okay, we are going to prove that NBMC is a parallelogram. Okay, so the first step is that we are going to prove these two triangles congruent. After proving them congruent, we are going to get enough points to prove that NBMC, this whole figure, is a parallelogram. After proving this figure a parallelogram, we will directly get the result that we if this is a parallelogram, then obviously the opposite sides of a parallelogram are always parallel. So this will prove that LM is parallel to BC, because NM will be parallel to BC. Being a parallelogram, these two opposite sides will become parallel, and therefore it will prove that LM is parallel to BC. And next, LM is half of BC. This we have learned that in theorem 11.1.1. Okay, in that theorem we learned that the opposite side of a parallelogram are always equal. So we know that L is the midpoint of NM, because we had taken LM congruent to NL. Therefore, if LM is the midpoint of, if L is the midpoint of NM and LM is equal to half of MN, then MN will become equal to BC, which will prove that LM is also half of BC. All this I am going to repeat again in the proof. The main steps are these. So let's start the theorem. Okay, so this is all we have learned. Up till now we have written the given, we have written the proof, what we need to prove, and we have also done what's the steps of construction that will help us to prove the theorem. The next step is to start the proof. Statements and reasons. Okay, the first step that we are going to do is we are going to take the correspondence of these two triangles. Okay, and we are going to write triangle NBL corresponds to now corresponding to NB, we are going to take AM. Okay, corresponding to NL and LM, we are going to take these two sides corresponding, and also we are going to take LM, BN and AM corresponding. So we are going to write it as triangle corresponding to NB, we are going to write AM, AML. So corresponding to BL, corresponding to ML, we are going to have NBL corresponds to triangle MAL. So that corresponding to NL, we have ML. Okay, corresponding to NL, we have ML or LM. They are the same line segments. And corresponding to NB, we require MA. Okay, NB we require MA because it will help us in the proof. Now correspondence of in correspondence of these two triangles, NL is congruent to ML. This is what we had done in construction. Okay, this was what we did in construction, because we had extended the line LM to the point N such that NL and LM are congruent. Okay, so LM is congruent to LN. This is because we had constructed this line segment equal to ML, and angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. This is because these are the vertical angles. Okay, whenever two lines cross each other, these angles are called the vertical angles, and they are always congruent. Okay, whenever two straight lines cross one another, then the vertical angles so formed are always congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. This is because of the vertical angles. And one more side is AL, side BL is congruent to AL. Side AL is congruent to LB, or BL is congruent to LA. This is because it was given that this line LM is joining the midpoints of these sides. So L was the midpoint of AB. Okay, the midpoint of L of AB, and M was the midpoint of AC. This was given to us that this line segment is joining the midpoints of AB and AC. L is the midpoint, therefore AL segment will be equal to LB. That is what I have written here. AL segment is congruent to BL. It means according to SAS postulate, NL and LB, these two sides and the included angle between them is congruent to side AL and LM and this angle included between these two sides. Okay, two sides included angle of and two sides of the other triangle and the included angle, they are congruent. Therefore by SAS postulate, triangle NBL will be congruent to triangle MAL. This is because of SAS postulate. Okay, from here we are going to derive a few results that will help us to prove this theorem further. From this triangle, if you see, NB is corresponding to MA. So as the triangles are congruent, therefore NB will be congruent to MA or AM. NB will be congruent to AM because these are the corresponding sides of these two congruent triangles. Corresponding sides of congruent triangles. NB will be congruent to MA, but MA was congruent to MC. Okay, MA is congruent to MC because M was the midpoint of AC. It was given to us, M midpoint of AC. Therefore, let me write it as, but MA is congruent to MC. The reason for this was, it is given to us that L is the midpoint of AB and M is the midpoint of AC and LM is the line segment which is joining the midpoint of these two sides. So MA is congruent to MC. If you compare these two equations, MA is congruent to NB, also MC is also congruent to MA. Okay, it means NB will be congruent to MC. This is from 1 and 2. Okay, from equation 1 and 2, MA is congruent to NB, also MA is also congruent to MC. As MC and NB both are congruent to MA, therefore these two line segments are going to be congruent to one another. So we have proved that NB is congruent to MC. NB is congruent to MC. This is what we have proved till now. Let me write it here. NB is congruent to MC because we are going to use it later. Mark this as equation 3. I am writing this equation here because I am going to use it later in the proof. Okay, one more thing that we are going to write it, that we had proved that triangle NBL is congruent to MAL. Okay, NBL is congruent to MAL. Okay, in this triangle, if you see that the angle at the point B in this triangle is angle 3. Okay, and corresponding to B we have the vertex A. So the angle corresponding to the angle at the point at the vertex A is angle A, and here the angle which is at the vertex B is angle 3. So as B is corresponding to A, therefore the angle at the point B will be congruent to the angle at the point A because these are the corresponding angles, the corresponding vertices. So here we can write that angle 3 is congruent to angle A because they are the corresponding angles of congruent triangles. Angle 3 is congruent to angle A. Now observe carefully. Angle 3 is congruent to angle A. Now these are two lines. Okay. These are two lines. And this is a transversal which is crossing these lines. this is the transversal which is crossing these are the two parallel these are the two lines, okay, and there is a transversal which is crossing these lines. So if you see angle 3 and angle A, they are the alternate angles which are formed here. Let me draw it here. This is the line AC, okay, and we have the line NB over here, okay, and B, and the line AB, the line which starts from A and ends at B. If you join it, okay, angle 3 is the angle between NB and AB. 3 is the angle between NB, okay, this is NB and this is AB. Angle 3 is between these two lines, and angle A is between AC and AB. Angle A is between AC, this is the line AC, and AC and this is the line AB. So this is angle A, and this, if you see that these are two lines and they are cut by a transversal, and these are the alternate angles so formed. Now we know that these alternate angles are congruent, which implies that NB will be parallel to this line AC. So angle 3 is congruent to angle A. Let me give this equation the name equation 4. So angle 3 is congruent to angle A. This implies that BN is parallel to the line AC. This is because the alternate angles are so formed are congruent. As the alternate angles are congruent, angle 3 is congruent to angle A, therefore BN, this implies that BN is parallel to AC. So BN is parallel to this whole line AC. If it is parallel to AC, it means we can write that BN is parallel to MC. Okay, so we have proved that BN is parallel to MC. If BN is parallel to AC, obviously M lies on AC. This segment will also be parallel to this segment MC, because M lies on AC, and AC and BN are parallel, then MC and BN are also going to be parallel. Mark this equation as equation 5. Okay, the next thing is that now in equation 3 we had learned that NB is congruent to MC, and here we have learned that NB is parallel to MC. So if you revise theorem 11.1.2, it tells us that the theorem told us that if you have a quadrilateral, here we have a quadrilateral NBCN, and if you have its two sides parallel as well as congruent, so here the NMCB, okay, NBCM, this is a quadrilateral, okay, and we have proved that NB is congruent to MC from equation 3, okay. BN is congruent to MC. This we had proved in equation 3. So these two results show that this NBCM, this quadrilateral, is a parallelogram, because in theorem 11.1.2, in that theorem we had learned that if you have quadrilateral, a four-sided figure, and if you have the information that its two opposite sides are parallel as well as congruent, okay, BN is parallel to MC and BN is also congruent to MC, and these are the opposite sides of this quadrilateral, then this quadrilateral will be a parallelogram. This was the statement of 11.1.2. So here if we recall the statement, we can say that BNCM is a parallelogram. Okay, this is because of 3 and 4. From 3 and 4 we have learned that BN is congruent to MC, also BN is parallel to MC. And from theorem 11.1.2, its statement was that if you have a quadrilateral, here we have a quadrilateral and its two opposite sides are parallel as well as congruent, then this quadrilateral will always be a parallelogram. This was the statement of 11.1.2 that we did in the previous lecture. So it means that BNCM is a parallelogram. So this is the second step that we have done. Now we will derive the result, this result directly from the properties of the parallelogram that we have studied in 11.1.1, the first theorem that we did in chapter 11. From that we have learned that if you have a parallelogram, then the opposite sides of a parallelogram are always parallel as well as they are congruent. So if this is a parallelogram, NBCM is a parallelogram, then it means that its opposite sides are going to be congruent as well as parallel. It means BC and NM, they are also the opposite sides of this parallelogram. It means that BC will be parallel to NM as well as BC will be congruent to NM. BNCM is a parallelogram, therefore BC, which is the opposite to NM, will be congruent to NM, and as well as BC will be parallel to NM, because the reason for this is properties of parallelogram BNCM. BNCM is a parallelogram, so every parallelogram has this properties that the opposite sides of the parallelogram are always congruent as well as parallel. It means that BC will be congruent to NM, this whole length, okay, and BC is also going to be parallel to this line NM. Now if BC is congruent to NM and BC is also parallel to NM, let me mark this as equation 6. Okay, so till now we have proved that BC is parallel, BC is congruent to NM, BC is congruent to NM, and BC is also parallel to NM. Now if BC is parallel to NM, then it must be parallel to, BC must also be parallel to LM, because LM is a part of NM. So if BC is parallel to this whole line, then definitely it will be parallel to each and every segment of this line NM, because LM is a segment or part of NM which is parallel to BC. As BC is parallel to NM, so BC will also be parallel to LM. Also, one more thing, BC, this is what we have proved, LM is parallel to BC. This is the first part of the theorem that they required, they wanted us to prove. So the first part of the theorem is proved. We have proved that LM is parallel to BC. The next thing that we need to prove is that LM is half of BC. Now we know that BC and NM are congruent. NM is congruent to BC. This we had proved in 6, because we had proved that this is a parallelogram, and in a parallelogram the opposite sides are always congruent as well as parallel. So if BC is congruent to NM, NM is congruent to BC, this we had proved in equation 6 over here. So NM is congruent to BC. Now we know that NM is equal to twice of LM, because we had taken N such that ML and LN were same. So, or otherwise we can write, if we divide both this equation by 2, dividing by 2, NM will be equal to half of NM will be equal to half of BC, because NM is congruent to BC. Therefore, as these two lengths are equal, their halves are also going to be equal. We can write this as half of the length NM is equal to half of the length BC. Now we know that half of NM, this is NM, and we know that LM is congruent to half of NM, because we had taken N such that LM and LN are congruent. So L is the midpoint of M, and it means LM is half of NM. So half of NM, we can write that half of N to M is equal to the length LM. This is congruent to half of BC from this equation. Okay. because it was in the construction we had taken n such that this length and this length, these two lengths were same. So it means L is the midpoint of M N. If L is the midpoint of M L, then it means that LM is half of this whole length. And if LM is half of NM, we can write that half of NM is equal to LM. We can replace this statement by LM, because LM is also equal to half of NM. From this, if you see, we have proved the second part of the theorem, that LM is congruent to half of BC. So this is what we needed to prove. Okay, this is the first result that we needed to prove, and this is the second result. Okay, these were the two results that they required us to prove, and this we have proved now. So the only thing we did was that we first proved these two triangles congruent, from where we get that from that congruency we got that NB is congruent to AM, and as well as angle 3 is congruent to angle A. If angle 3 is congruent to angle A, then we got that these two are alternate angles, and as these alternate angles are congruent, therefore these lines are parallel. So NB is parallel to AC, okay, and MC was part of AC, therefore NB came out to be parallel to MC also. So these were the two lines which become parallel. After that, NB is congruent to AM. This is what we got when we had the congruency of these two triangles. From that we got that NB is congruent to AM. Also AM was congruent to MC, so NB become congruent to MC. Therefore these two sides became parallel.